This little tool that I'm using right now, this is called a blending stump. This is a magic tool that will also help with graphite. When you're using graphite, it is helpful to be able to blend. One misconception is that you use your finger to do blending. I would like you to be able to use a blending stump should you need to do some blending. It also helps to give it a nice smooth finish and kind of get rid of maybe white areas that are difficult to cover up. I still want to see my crosshatch in there. The crosshatch is a technique that is really beautiful and definitely one that I like to see in my drawings. Watch right here. I can also use my blending stump to do some light blending so that instead of just going in with my pencil, I can use this tool to be able to also apply graphite, and it's going to go on a lot softer. All right, this is called a gradient value drawing. So right now I am working on some of the different fine details. What I want you to be able to do with a gradient value drawing is be able to show that nice range of value, but also a really important part of this is trying to get rid of hard, heavy outlines. Right now I have some outlines to the piggy right along here. I'm going to make all of those disappear. I'm going to make all of those disappear when I am adding that dark background. So keep in mind that hard outlines are not acceptable for this particular project that we're doing. There are times when people are using hard outlines, and that makes sense. Most people are taught as early in kindergarten to outline everything that they draw. And we have to kind of get you away from that and try to work with a more natural look. So this technique that I'm doing in the background right now, I've already mentioned it before and I'll mention it again. This is a crosshatch. And I'm being very careful with my crosshatch. I'm making sure that I use kind of a pattern of lines. I want to see my crosshatch. I could make that background as dark as possible. That I do see that in the picture, but it is helpful to be able to understand that as an artist, you get to make these decisions about where everything goes in the picture plane and what you want it to look like. Also notice that you can see some of my grid lines are starting to disappear. As I go, I erase the lines that I don't need. Another thing to know is that a well-sharpened pencil is very helpful for crosshatch. So I'm constantly going back and I'm using one of my really good sharpeners. All of you are welcome to use them. As you can see, it's going to give me an extra fine point. And I really like that for the technique that I'm using. So how I've created that contrast is I started with a real heavy line, just like right around here with that little umbrella. I started with a real dark line because I want it to really stand out against that dark background. And then I'm making sure that I am pressing hard with my pencil as I am applying more of the graphite for that background. If you can still see your grid after you have utilized the grid method, what that grid is there for, you're really supposed to start making that disappear. So it's helpful to erase as you go. Now right now I'm going to be using an eraser to bring back some of the highlights that I sort of made disappear. So your eraser is actually a drawing tool as well as a tool to erase. I'm actually drawing with my eraser right now. Okay, I was bringing back some of the highlights in the umbrella that had started to disappear. There it goes. Okay, those little details make a very, very big difference. If you see areas where your grid did not completely disappear, it's important to make sure to go back and erase that. So I have this little line right here that that's not erasing. Anytime you see a really dark part of your drawing or your picture, I want you to make sure that you use that as an opportunity. It's an opportunity to create contrast. Contrast, that really, really dark darks next to the light lights, okay? The more contrast you have in that picture, the better it's gonna look. Hey, Tyler, can I get a tissue? All right, now I'm going to start creating some soft transition between that really dark black and the lighter area. So I'm using this little blending stump. I see some of my blending marks and I don't want to, so I'm trying to go in different directions with a blending stump. Now all of that graphite that I just rubbed onto my blending stump, I'm going to use that to create some of the dark areas on that little Piggy. One thing to also pay attention to is the direction of the fur. Anytime you're working with an animal, you want to be mindful that your shading marks are mimicking the direction that their fur grows. If you start going side to side, you've already kind of set yourself up for a picture that's not going to look very realistic because his fur does not grow side to side. It's going to change directions, and it's you know, basically going to look very unnatural if you are not paying attention to those kinds of details. Right now, I'm just giving myself a base coat to get that, kind of get the Piggy, all of his little details to start to emerge.